And welcome to Priska Hamas channel. Today I'm going to be teaching us how to make, bake, cream and cookie cakes. I like to call it African cake based on the way it is. Yeah, so we're going to need just 5 things for this recipe. We need the flour, the sugar, the baking powder, of course we need the butter, and we need the milk, and you can use the flavor if you want. So it's a single recipe, but I'm going to be making double. We'll be making double of the recipe instead of one. So the single recipe, let me just show you. Yeah, in this recipe, this recipe is for 300 grams of flour, 340 grams of sugar, 4 eggs, 2.5 teaspoon of baking powder, 235 grams of milk, cookies. You can use the Oreos, but Oreos will be expensive, so I choose to go for the cheaper version. Chocolate, yeah. You can use 1 teaspoon vanilla, but me, I'm gonna be making a double recipe. But I'll write out the recipes down below. Okay. So what we need to do, of course, butter. 140 grams of butter. But what's gonna make this cake different is that apart from butter, I'm gonna be mixing mine with oil. So I'm going to be using 100 grams. If I'm making the one for 300, I'm going to be using 100 grams of butter and 40 grams of oil. It's very important you measure it. So I have my measuring spoon, yeah, and the cup, yeah, and all the little spoons too. Okay, let's get to it. Okay, in here I have 200 grams of butter. Remember, I forgot to add unsalted butter, please. Unsalted butter. 200 grams of butter here. This is my client did not want too much sugar, so instead of using the 680 grams of sugar, I decided to use 450 grams because my client does not want too much sugar in the cake. So we just pour it in. Now we're gonna be adding the 80 grams of oil. So I'm gonna be measuring the 80 grams. So I've put on the measuring scale now. So it's important that when you put on the measuring scale, you put it on top first. So it says 21 grams. So just put it like this so you go back to 0 before you pour in the oil. What I want is 80 grams. 80 grams. Let's see. That's 47. Okay. That's press it. Put on it. That's a 71 gram. It's 71 gram now. What we need is 80. 75. 78. Now, excuse the noise, I have some kids in the house now. Now it's 80 gram. Very important. So we're just gonna pour the 80 gram inside. I've poured the oil in so you get something like this. So over to the mixing table, let's say. So you just do it in a little bit creamy. Now it's creamy. Now it's creamy, so I'm just gonna add in the 8 eggs. Remember, we're making a double recipe. Okay, now I've put in the 8 eggs, so we're just gonna mix it a little bit. I have to pause it so the noise doesn't get too much for you. Okay, in between, don't forget to always scrape the sides of your, the sides in between baking. So in here I have the flour and the baking powder, 5 teaspoons. I use this teaspoon. Yeah. So now we're gonna use two vanilla teaspoon. Don't forget it's a double recipe. So in here you can decide to harden if you want different colors on the cake, you want it to be pink or whatever. Now is the best time for you to add the color, or after you put your flour. And if you want to mix the aroma, sometimes I like to experiment. I can mix it with vanilla, banana aroma, just to give it a little bit different flavor. So now I'm gonna put in the flour. Let's see, you put it in three parts. So this is the first batch. I put in the first one. Now you start it on the medium. Start on the medium. Yeah, so scraping down the side. I'm gonna be hardening the second batch here now. So at the same time getting prepared to add the milk. I have a little visitor here, just after. Okay, after scraping down, this is the second batch. After scraping down the side, I can see that it's pretty thick. So now I'm gonna add the 70 grams of milk. So what I'm gonna be doing is that I'm gonna add the 240 grams first. Then the next time I add the 230 grams. So remember, this one is 100 ml. So we go with the first two. 100, 200. So I'll wait with the 270 grams rather. So we go first, gently, so it doesn't splash everywhere. So I poured in the last batch now. So I'm gonna measure the 270. This scale comes in handy, very important in the baker's kitchen. So it's remaining 270. Just quickly gonna pour it in. Don't just set the scale. We just need 70. That was 71 instead of 70, so that's also okay. So that's it. Now the mixture is ready. So yeah, here you can have the, like I said, you can have the color now if you want, or if you choose to. The other cake I have, I use blue, so I don't want to add any color to this one since I have colors already. So what I'm gonna do right now is now we go to the cookies. Now this is where the interesting part comes in. So you take the first one pack, you put it in a bag. Then you find something to just to just break it into smaller bits. You have to be careful. The bag I'm using is not solid enough, so I'm gonna have to be careful with it. So yeah, I got my best. So I'm just gonna be, just keep it here. I'm just gonna be breaking it in smaller pieces. Because you need for it to be small. Like I said, the bag I'm using is not strong enough. Oh, I forgot to buy the other one. So just make do of this one first. Let's see. So what we're trying to do here is to make it into a small bits. To give it something extra taste. So just keep on. Let's see, it's almost there. So yeah, it's okay like this. So what we're gonna do now is we're just gonna pour it right in. So just gonna pour it right in. You can see. I'm gonna show it to you. Excuse me. Let's see. Yeah. So you got something like this. Okay, after pouring it in, you just mix it. I have done this recipe countless times, and all my clients, they love it. That is a special, a special one, and all the kids love it. The clients, the parents, everyone loves it. It's a recipe worth trying. And while we're talking about it, please don't forget to subscribe, press like, and share the video, please. So the other pack of the cookies, what we're gonna do with it is okay, the second cookies, as you can see, I broke it. It's not supposed to be so small. It's almost too smooth, but it's a little bit more bigger. And with this one, we mix it with a teaspoon or a tablespoon of mix it up with flour, baking flour. 1, 2. This is because when you pour it into the cake mix, it helps the cookies not to go to the bottom. It keeps it afloat. It makes it float on top. It doesn't sink. So it's very important you mix it with a baking flour. So pour it in, and when you pour it in, please, very important, don't mix it too much. Just go over it a little bit. Don't mix it too much, just a little bit, gently, something like this. Okay, now it's ready to bake. So I'm using a 20 inches 20 centimeter cake pan. So what I do, sometimes I use baking paper, other times I don't use, but I'm gonna teach you the right way to use this baking pan. After washing and drying your hands, you just take a little bit of butter, just rub it in. Make sure you take all the edges, all the corners where it tends to get stuck. I don't know if you've experienced it, that when you're baking cake and you're so happy that your cake is so perfect, but when you try to bring it out, it kind of gets stuck around the edge. And you're like, oh my God. It's so irritating. So I use this. Then, excuse me, that's the boss of the house shouting. Just pour a little bit of flour. Just shake it round. Turn it around till it gets to the other side. So after that, you dust. You pour it back. Now, when you look at it here, if you see a place that's very shiny, then you know that the butter did not get there. So you take a little bit of butter. I can see a place here and place it back here. Then you take flour again, pour it in, just shake it. Please make sure to get out all the excess powder. Now, you see a little bit of powder there. Now we're good to go. So I'm gonna pour it in and bake for 35 minutes. If you have a timer, set your timer. And when you fill in your pan, always make sure you fill it to the half. Yeah. Fill it to halfway. So that's okay. And if sometimes, not all the time, it depends on your oven, of course, when you're trying to bake a cake, the up tend to rise up while the sides are down. So yeah, this is pretty wore out, but I love it. It's a lifesaver for me here while baking. Though it's kind of brownish now because of the oven. This one is a lifesaver. This is a lifesaver. It's sold on all cake shops, Williton, everywhere is a lifesaver. So what you do with this, you just wet it a little bit in water. Then you put it around the cake pan. It has saved me countless times. Yes, and you're good to go. It helps your cake it helps the cake. It makes sure that it doesn't rise up unnecessarily, because the problem is sometimes the center gets to rise up and the other side are deflated. So when this is around, it bakes it evenly. Okay, see you when we're done. This is our finished product. I'm gonna be doing 3. When I'm through the 3, I'm gonna let you see them. So when you bring it out from the oven, you have to wait at least 5 minutes before you bring it out from the pan for it to cool down. So then you release it from the rake. I have this one, just do it now, if need be. So it's still very hot. I'm gonna wait like 5 minutes before I can bring it out. Thank you for joining us today. Please don't forget to like, subscribe, and if you have any question, please don't hesitate to ask. Thanks, and see you next time. Bye.